And now we're going to look at the pyramid of Cestius. This is a Roman pyramid, and quite a neat one. It's a massive pyramid known as the Pyramid of Cestius, a little bit larger than the other ones we were looking at in Greece. It's one of the best preserved ancient buildings in Rome out of all of them, and it's because it's hooked up to this Castilian here. It was built on request by Gaius Cestius, and one of the members of the four great religious comprehensions that were actually of that time. Now you can look and see the door that's here in the bottom and how giant this place is, and the stones based on cubits and so on, and it does have the marble facing on it that the ancient pyramids had in one time. One might think it's strange to find an old pyramid in the center of Rome, and in a sense it is, but after the Roman conquest of Egypt in year 30 BC, Rome was going through a fad, and they had been through the Greeks, and so they liked all things Egyptian and stuff, and it was quite a blending of cultures and a learning from each other and a sharing. Several obelisks. Another pyramid was raised in Rome, the Pyramid of Romulus, which has now been demolished. Now Romulus and Remus were the ones that had brought forth Rome in itself, but now, that had been demolished in the late 16th century, by the way. And you can see the size of this place, and it's got a door built into it now, and it's shut down. But quite a craze. You can see on the far right, well, not quite in the picture there, there's just the edging there of it being built into another wall. And it's quite a more pointy pyramid, like the pyramids that you find, the bent pyramid as it came up, the original that it was supposed to go angle, and then of course they had to round it off in the other bigger pyramids. That was a lesson learned whenever you got to building them so big that the weight of their own self would try to push out from the inside. Ziggurats were found to have that problem. Indeed, that was the problem with the Tower of Babel, and that's the problem with trying to build a giant pyramid that looks like this. But the pyramids that are up in Mero look very much like this and stuff, and he may have been inspired quite a bit by doing that, because it was believed that he was serving in the campaign against Nubia where they'd come, and he had seen these pyramids, and they were the more faced outside type pyramids, and they knew that they could of course build these to look like this. So it may have been in a way commemorating the victories over Africa and Egypt during that time. And it's been built out of some concrete and some brick, travertine foundation below it, and it's covered with a white marble, blocks over the whole thing. Today the pyramid is located in the city, but during the time of its construction it was quite a bit out in the countryside. Now during this period, large tombs weren't even allowed within the city walls. You had to build your dead outside of city walls. However, Rome grew rapidly, and by the 3rd century the pyramid had been surrounded by parts of the city, got swallowed into it and other buildings, and became part of the city. The pyramid was even incorporated into the city wall during the construction of the Aurelian Wall that they had here towards the end of the 3rd century, with all its Castilians built right here. The inclusion of the pyramid of the wall is probably the main reason that it was so well preserved, because it was a portion of it and people had a reverence for it. They quite often didn't have a reverence for antiquity. Take a close look, you can see inscriptions that are written across here on both sides. One is an original inscription, the other one is a reparation inscription. It reads, Gaius Cestius Apollo, son of Lucius the praetor, tribune of the plebes, stepivrum Apollonium, with the later referring to that religious group, and we'll get into that at a different time, of their ancient religious beliefs. Below you can see a smaller inscription stating that the work was completed in accordance with the will in 330 days, is all it took, by the decision of the heir Pontus Mela, son of Publius, Claudia and Ponthus, a freedman. So there's an additional inscription on the east side added to the 7th century. Now look at the painting style here, and this is an interim painting style between the old painting style and the painting style that you'll find in the Sistine Chapel and things. This is the interim of it, where you're getting lighter and darker and shading and having light come from the side and a 3D type effigy of things and stuff. So They didn't rediscover the inner chamber until the year 1660 during the Pope's restoration, the seventh Pope. They found a small room was decorated with a lot of intricately painted frescoes. They're in real bad condition, but part of them still remain today. Look like some of them may have been demolished even in antiquity. These paintings are some of the first examples of the third period Rome. And being that this tomb was built in 15 BC, why would there be angels, and why would there be angels in Rome? Well, it's because it was part of their original ideology. It's part of their original ideology too. And it clearly shows you there, and the purple that it's wearing shows you the nobility of the angel. But it was a family tomb, and it appeared to have served for several members of the Cestius family, for a few generations even, and then sealed up in antiquity and then left alone to become just part of the wall. It's been at such an angle no one could run up this wall or do anything with it, so they incorporated it within the structure of the wall so they wouldn't have to build that part of it. But in doing so, it encapsulated it, it made it part of it, it kept it inside and internal, and made it really able to last until now, into antiquity, through to this day. Even some pillars stand around it, showing you that at one time there was other structures that are here that are no longer existent. But there's a Roman pyramid. Now, we've seen a lot of Greek pyramids, and of course the Egyptian pyramids. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Enjoy. Have a great day.